Hi everybody, how are you? So I'm back and I decided to put a little bit of makeup on and brush my hair, and I thought I would wear red for this wonderful subject of love. What is love and relationship addiction? So what is love addiction and what is relationship addiction? So the reason I bring this up is because a few people have asked me to talk about certain things. And then also I had a lovely friend, very, very precious friend to me, very special friend. And he sent me a message the other day asking me about a specific relationship and why people accept, terms that they're not comfortable with. Why do people keep going back? Why do we get into toxic relationships? Why are we attracted to toxic people? And why do we just keep going from one thing to the other? Why doesn't it get better? So I just want to say at the very beginning of this, I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional when it comes to love addiction, relationship addiction, addiction at all. I have done a lot of research on this. I have done a lot of reading. And so basically, this is really coming from experience, from looking at stuff, and also from my own life experience. So I hope that it will help you and help you to understand what it is. And, and maybe I think sometimes when we can acknowledge something and understand it, we can grow and we can move forward and we can learn how to get out of these situations or not get into them as well. So in my experience, I just want to say my I suppose addiction to, now I'm going to say boys, right? Started at 4. Yeah, started at 4. And my first relationship, my first intimate relationship was with my imaginary friend called John. And that was from 2. At least I know from 2. So it was earlier than 2, but because it's in a previous video I did, but he was my imaginary friend and I used to talk to him and all of that. Okay. Very hard to describe if you've never had an imaginary friend, but there you go. And it might sound ridiculous, but to me, it shows that I needed somebody in my life. I needed company. I needed something. Now, whether you believe in spiritual stuff or not, we can look at the psychological side is a child that needed comfort and company, and the other side you could see maybe my guardian angel coming down and looking after me because they knew I needed something and and they were there for me. Whatever way you look at it, it's the kind of the same thing. And then after that, my next thing would have been I was probably 4. And that was David Soul from Starsky and Hutch. And I was mad about him to the point that when Starsky and Hutch ended, I would cry for him. And I used to mix up because I was so young, I didn't understand that, a husband, marriage, all that stuff. So I used to say, I want him to be my brother. I miss him. I want him to be my brother. Like I needed this man. So my dad went out and bought me, the single, Don't Give Up on Me, Don't Give Up on Us, Baby, or whatever, his 2 hit songs. And he bought me that single. I mean, how precious was my dad? He was another absolute angel sent to me for my first 12 years of my life. And so I really, I had these attachment, I suppose, things to boys or men. Well, not really men, but boys. And then when I was in play school, the son called Ken, he would come home from school and I didn't want the sister to help me. No, I wanted Ken and I was so excited for Ken to help me. I was 3 and 4. Then I went to school and I fancied this boy for probably a year or 2. Darren, I was mad about Darren. And there was jealousy around that with other girls in school who talked to him at that age. I was 5 when I started school. Then I liked Richie, who I remember actually I bumped into his dad like a few years ago, and I was telling him this story that now I haven't seen Richie in person since I was 7, probably my Holy Communion, but I remember, oh, he was just so cool and so amazing, and but then he said a curse word, and then I thought, oh, he's naughty, I shouldn't talk to him. But and then, you know, from that, I think from the age of 10, then I had my first real, you know, obsession, and that was a guy called Keith. And Keith lived around the corner from me, and I don't even know how it all started, but I know that I was so obsessed with him for years. He had no interest in me. He was mean to me. He was rude. His friends would tease me. And I don't know why. I just thought that if he loved me, I would be okay. And I always had this thing that I just wanted somebody to marry me and take me away. Where that comes from, right? Don't know. So then, then another obsession started around 14, and then it just went on and on. And as some of you know, then I, you know, was raped a couple of times in my late teens, and then that led to destruction. And there is, you know, there have been beautiful boys who were in my life, or, you know, that I did encounter. And there was one absolutely thorough gentleman who I met when I was 18, and he loved me too much, and he was too, say, normal, in inverted commas. Is anyone normal? But I pushed him away, and he, you know, I loved him and he loved me, and I pushed him away completely, because I, at that stage now, couldn't form you know, proper relationships, I suppose. Okay, so my relationships were all, you know, I think if somebody was abusive towards me or mean towards me, I would feel that I could save them, or why don't they like me? What is it about me that they don't like? I'll make them like me. So I think I was trying to prove myself all of the time. So that comes to, you know, I suppose the relationship addiction. Now, relationship addiction can be in any form. It can be friendships. You're going from friendships to friendships to friendships. It can be you're going from relationship, sexual relationship to sexual relationship. It can be, you know, it can come in forms of, I suppose, even within your family, you know, that codependency with you and your children, or you and your parents. It's this relationship addiction. It's this attachment stuff. And, you know, that all comes from insecurity, low self-esteem, fear, abandonment, rejection, all those horrible things that we don't like. Love addiction, that is the love buzz. It's, you know, that love buzz that's so exciting, the promise of a new life, that, you know, I mean, there's actual chemicals in our brain, you know, as powerful, or if not more powerful than drugs, that set off these just warm, fabulous feelings of safety and calmness and excitement and all of that. And I totally identify with the love addiction and the relationship addiction. Now, the love addiction, what happens with love addiction is you meet somebody, you have all of this image in your head of how it's going to be, and it's going to be wonderful, and we slot them into our little picture of what our life is going to be, and they're on their best behavior, you're on their best behavior, you get together, and we're both fulfilling each other's needs. Now, remember, if two love addicts come together, they both have the same thing going on. So you're slotting into each other's kind of, I suppose, picture of life and picture of how it's going to be. So best behavior, everything's wonderful. You have this dream ahead, and then reality starts. The real person starts coming out. And usually that would be about after a year and a half, if you're lucky, a year and a half. And then the real person comes out, and the dream isn't the way it's supposed to be. That person isn't showing up the way they're supposed to be in my mind, in my picture, in my, dream. And so I want to change them. So I try and change them. They don't want to be changed. So then they try and change me, and I don't want to be changed. And the image I would have given would have been a damsel in distress, or a very quiet, shy, which is the reality. When I meet somebody new, I'm quiet and I'm shy and all of that. But then when somebody gets to know you, you become more comfortable, and the real strength, their strong personality is there, and the controlling is there, and all of that is there, and it comes out. And as you get more comfortable with somebody, the real personality comes out. And in my case, was always quite controlling, and I wanted to control in order for everything to be perfect. And if everything was perfect, then I felt safe. And if you do and did what I wanted you to do, when I wanted you to do it, and be how I want you to be, that fits absolutely nicely. It's actually like tidying up your living room and putting everything in its place and having everything shiny and cleaning the place. Then you can sit down and go, isn't this wonderful and perfect? And it's exactly how I want it to be. And now I can sit down and relax. And that's how I suppose I was in my relationships with people. Now, if people are watching this and have had a relationship with me, you are that fortunate or unfortunate, you may not remember that, and you may not have seen it that way. But it's only as life has gone on, and I have got help for certain things in my life, and I've read books, and I've gone to courses, and I've done workshops, I now know that that's what was going on the inside. I didn't know at the time, obviously. And my control probably came across as really caring and really wanting to save and to help and all of that. And there was that element in there as well. I did want to save people, and I did want to help people. So, as my life went on, and of course that relationship when I was 18 didn't work out, and I will do I will touch on that another time, and I want to respect that person's privacy, because they're a very, very good person, and they're still very special to me. So I don't want to hurt them in any way. So I just, I will touch on that in another video at some stage, because it touched on another area of my life. And I won't go into detail because I know they don't want me to. But, and I wouldn't have anyway. But that person I couldn't have in my life, because it would have worked out probably if I was a normal human being at that stage, which I was actually damaged at that stage. I'd gone through a lot of things, and it wasn't only the rapes, but, childhood stuff that I'd gone through, and relationships within my family and all of that all come together, and my father passing away, and that had a huge effect on me. And my mum being on her own now, looking after all of us, and that relationship, and so all of my relationships have always been quite complex, and not because I've made them complex or because the people are, complex, just that I'm a very sensitive person, and I suppose any little thing will shift me within myself, and will, if you tell me something, I will believe you. I will tell you I don't believe you, and what you're telling me is bull, but it'll go into my heart and into my soul, and I will believe it. So if you tell me I'm a horrible person, deep down I will believe you, because of the low self-esteem, the lack of self-worth. So what is addiction, right? Addiction is basically doing something, consuming something, taking part in something. Could be an action. It can be, as we know, obviously, alcohol, drugs, gambling, the sex addiction, which is very separate from what I'm talking about, by the way. But we've addictions in everything, there's all types of addictions. But addiction, if I was to simplify it, is, when one feels not so nice and uncomfortable within themselves, and then they use a substance or they take an action and that makes them feel better. If you have in any way an addictive personality, something will go, that worked. Now I feel better. I think I'll do that again. And when you do things that are, addictive and that work and you become addicted to, it's because they're making you feel better. They're taking you out of your negative feelings. They're taking you out of yourself. They're, so if we think of love addiction, think about you meet somebody, you're lonely, you're whatever, everything's mundane in your life, and you meet somebody and they tell you how amazing you are. They tell you you look beautiful. They fill you with all of this. That's another thing, by the way, that's been huge and prevalent in my life, is love bombing. I'm always love bombed. And apparently that's a sign to run for the hills. But when you're being love bombed, and for those who don't know what love bombing is, when people are telling you all these wonderful things about yourself, I believe they think that. Now, maybe they do think that at the time. That's fine. But it makes me feel better. And I like to feel better. I like to feel better. I like to feel warm and fuzzy and content and happy and joyous. And I want to be filled with hope and love and all of those things, and promise and excitement. So that's what love addiction is. So I want more, and I want more, and I want more. So when you're with somebody and they're giving you this, you're giving them whatever they need. It could be attention, it could be cooking the meals, it could be doing yourself up to look pretty, it could be making them laugh, it could be walking, in beautiful forests, and whatever you're doing, you're both filling each other up with this wonderful love buzz. And that can be a natural thing too, by the way. So, most people have the love buzz, and it really is like crazy in love. You become crazy, madly in love with you. You become mad. It really is. It's a chemical change, and it does absolutely make you feel amazing. Now, most people on the planet that know and accept that love buzz feeling calms down after a while, right? But the love addict can't accept that. They kind of feel, oh, what's going wrong here? Where's the buzz? And in my case, and love addict's case, you feel like, well, they obviously don't love me anymore. I obviously don't love them. This obviously isn't love. This can't be love, because I'm not feeling that absolute, ecstatic feeling, this ecstasy. And when that happens, it's that's when the relationship starts to fail, and that's when it kind of disappears, and they either run or I either run. And and I have to be honest, I never knew ever that what I was feeling was incorrect. I didn't even know what was going on. I had no clue. So what I'm trying to say is, so love addiction is something that it's like any addiction. You need to keep feeling that. It's like a heroin addict needs to keep, injecting heroin, smoking heroin to get that hit. and that hit is never the same. You keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying. It's like drinking and it doesn't work anymore. You just keep trying and you keep trying. You keep trying for that buzz. And when it doesn't come, you kind of, I suppose, leave that situation and you find another love buzz. Do you know? You find another drug. You find another type of drink. Find another gang of friends. You find another country to live in. It's just, you need to feel better and you need to fill that void within yourself. And relationship addiction is kind of, relationship addiction is now this is all in my opinion, by the way, is a lot lighter in the sense that, now, not lighter in the sense, you can get very hurt in relationships and friendships and all of that. And believe you me, I know all about the hurt in relationships. But it's not that love addiction, that ecstasy, that way up here. But it's a safety feeling and it's a connection. And all addiction is about connection, connecting with self, connecting with our souls, connecting with our higher self. It's connection. Where that begins, we don't know. Well, we might know, but it's like saying, is it, like, where did it come from? Did I become this, or was I born that way? A lot of connection issues come from Gabor, what's his name? Oh, somebody, well, I'll put it in here now. But literally, basically, when Gabor Mate, that's his name, he literally talks about, connection and broken connection. And that can happen at any time. It can be in the womb, it can be after birth, it can be within the first few months, within the first few years. It can be, at any time. And when that connection is broken between, I suppose, our mum or our dad or our carer, in whoever it is in that case is our carer. When that connection is broken, we can't align ourselves to normality in relationships. Like, that is my opinion. I don't know if that's 100% fact, but I know for me, I've always wanted connection, and I have tried to get connection in so many ways. Now, I don't want to take away from the fact that I am actually genuinely a kind person who does try and save people and does want people to feel better and would do that. I would do that. I've done it, as I said, all through my life with friendships and friends and all of that, and, family and whatever. And I wasn't always doing that to feel better within myself. I just want to say that. But relationship, when you have kind of that love addiction and relationship addiction together, it's very much, you see, they're all very connected. So then you've got codependency. That's another minefield. Like, codependency is needing that other person to accept you and to love you and to make you feel okay and all of that. And I know everybody has that. We all want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. There's this big thing about codependency is bad. Well, I don't think codependency in all forms is a bad thing, because I do think we need each other, and I think we should need each other sometimes more than society allows us to. But I'd like to just do a thing. This book is called The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. I want to do this. It's she's also written Codependent No More and Beyond Codependency. This is the book here, and it's really, really good. And I just wanted to, I looked before up, something with love in it. So I'm going to read this, and it's called Love in Words and Actions. Many of us have confused notions about what it means to be loved and cared about. Many of us were loved and cared for by people who had discrepancies between what they said and did. We may have had a mother or father who said, "I love you" to us, and then abandoned or neglected us, giving us confused ideas about love. Thus, that pattern feels like love, the only love we knew. Some of us may have been cared for by people who provided for our needs and said they loved us, but simultaneously abused or mistreated us. That then becomes our idea of love. Some of us may have lived in emotionally sterile environments where people said they loved us, but no feelings or nurturing were available. That may have become our idea of love. We may learn to love others or ourselves the way we have been loved, or we may let others love us the way we have been loved, whether or not that feels good. It's time to let our needs be met in ways that actually work. Unhealthy love may meet some surface needs, but not our need to be loved. We've come to expect congruency in behaviour from others. We can diminish the impact of words alone and insist that behaviour and words match. We can find the courage, when appropriate, to confront discrepancies in words and actions, not to shame, blame, or find fault, but to help us stay in touch with reality and with our needs. We can give and receive love where behaviour matches one's words. We deserve to receive and give the best that love has to offer. Today, I will be open to giving and receiving the healthiest love possible. I will watch for discrepancies between words and behaviours that confuse me and make me feel crazy. When that happens, I will understand that I am not crazy. I'm in the midst of a discrepancy. So that basically is, why, as in the question I was asked the other day, that's why we go back and keep going back for more and for more. That's why we are in toxic relationships. That's why we can't get out of relationships, because it's full of discrepancies. People are telling us one thing and they're acting another way. They're giving us a promise and we're believing them, and then they don't follow through. So this is what happens. It's not our fault, and it's not to blame ourselves that, we've failed or there's something wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with us. We're all looking for love. We're all looking for acceptance. We want to be accepted and loved in this world. That's all that matters, isn't it? To be loved and cared for and feel safe. And if people are promising us that, why wouldn't we want it and go for it, But I think I know it's about self-love. And it's very hard to love yourself if you feel nobody else in the whole world loves you. I've been there and I know how that feels. But I think it's little by little trying to, go on that journey about self-discovery and self-love. And how do you love yourself? I remember asking this question 20 odd years ago. People would say, you need to love yourself. How? How do I love myself? I'll tell you, very simple, practical things. You get up in the morning, you have breakfast, you try to eat a healthy meal at least once a day, you shower, you try to look your best, show up to life, little bits every day. And the thing is that if we wake up in the morning, that is an achievement. Sometimes that's all we can do. We wake up, we get up. But it's really about self-love in the beginning. We really have to love ourselves. And yes, a lot of my confidence came from my mother's love and her backing in the last, few years. And now that she's gone from my life, I find that really, really difficult, I have to say. And I'm like, oh, where am I going to get this love from to prove that I'm lovable, to prove that I'm acceptable, to prove that I have worth, and that I have a reason to be here and a purpose, a purpose. So I want to do one other thing. I keep looking towards the window because my friend is coming now soon. But I just wanted to do one thing. I always loved Doreen Virtue's cards. She's amazing, Doreen Virtue, and it's called The Romance Angels. I don't know if does that look like it's back to front? Maybe it does. So The Romance Angels. And I just thought I'd pick a card. Doreen Virtue, I went to see her in Dublin many years ago, and she's written books on angels, and I've got about All my angel cards my mum bought me, all my packets over the years for different things, like, you know, you're not supposed to buy them yourself. So I'd say, Mum, I want another packet, you know, and it would be my birthday or Christmas or something. And so they're very special for me, you know, and I used to do angel cards my mum a lot. She loved it. And I love the angels. I'm very into the angels. So let's do a little angel card and I'll read it. And you know, maybe it'll mean something to somebody. And if you're watching this to the end of the video, and I know it's a long video, if you're watching it to the end, I do believe this is meant for you. Okay, so it's called Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. And there's a picture of a couple and they're walking away together. So let's see what that says in the book. So Retreat. The romance angels see that your love life blossoms as you spend time alone with your partner or by yourself. It appears that you've become confused or conflicted by other people's advice. It's time for you to disconnect so that you can better hear your own feelings and opinions. If you are in a partnership, spending time together apart from others will renew your commitment and take it to the next level. This could mean taking a vacation, going on a nature hike, enjoying a long drive, or turning off the phones and computer as you both enjoy a quiet afternoon at home. The painting on this card also indicates a honeymoon, which could be the literal message. So there may be a deepening of commitment or a new serious relationship if you're currently single. This card may indicate an upcoming engagement, wedding, or renewal of vows. These activities are more meaningful as you spend time alone with your partner. If you're presently single, this card guides you to spend time by yourself, meditating upon your true feelings and thoughts. Be sure to take action based on any intuitive guidance. This strengthens your energy, which helps you rapidly attract and manifest your loving partner. So on that note of retreat, so retreat, if you're single, go off, meditate, you know, pray, be with yourself and try to love yourself. And if you are, you know, feeling that you might be a love or relationship addict, it's all about self-love and just untangling that. So I wish you the best of luck. And if you want any more information, please let me know. Bye.